Where is Kamaru Usman? Kamaru Usman, Nigerian nightmare. Where you dey now? I beg, where you dey? Make una help me call him. Help me to call him and tell him he still has one more shot in him for that belt. That welterweight strap can still be won by Kamaru Usman. I really believe it. He just needs to give it one full whack. One complete 100% full whack. Maybe one or two more fights is gonna get a shot. No doubt about that. Do you guys remember UFC 235 2019 when Kamaru Usman won that belt against Tyron Woodley, the beast himself? I'm sure you guys remember that. That fight was well executed, well trained. He came very well prepared for that fight and he won that fight fairly easily, I think. It took him a while to get that title shot, if you guys remember. It wasn't exciting. It was just wrestling. And you know the way things go in this sport. If you're just wrestling, people don't really find you entertaining. They don't find you as much fun as the strikers. But eventually he got his opportunity against Tyron Woodley. And then he went on a run. He defended that belt 5 good times. He defended it twice against Masvidal. He defended it twice again against Colby Covington. That was epic fight. Those fights were epic fights. He also defended it against Gilbert Burns. That was his former training partner as well. I say except from GSP, nobody else has done that in the welterweight. So Kamaru Usman is probably considered the second best welterweight of all time till today. Then he went on right? He fought Leon Edwards in 2022. This fight, he was dominating this fight from the second round anyway. Second round, third round, fourth round, and most of the fifth round. He was dominating this fight. All he had to do in the last minute of the fifth round was to take Leon Edwards down or put him against the cage, clinch with him for one more minute. This sport is crazy, guys. This sport is crazy. This just shows you anything can happen at any day. UFC, MMA is a great sport. Anything can happen. There's a lot of ways to win. There's a lot of ways to lose. And the impossible happened basically. The last minute, the last second, I think, the last couple of seconds of the fifth round, after dominating most of the fight, Leon Edwards gave him that sweet head kick onto the face, onto the jaw, man. And he went flying onto the floor, and that was how she rose. That was how he lost his belt. After a 5 title defense, he lost that belt in the last minute of the last round. That was heartbroken. I have to say, I was shocked. Everybody in the world was shocked. Even Leon Edwards was shocked himself. He's not gonna lie, deep down inside. I thought he won that fight already. They must have been celebrating, even the coaches, and be like, oh, you have this in the bag. Unfortunately, it's not over till that belt it's over. And that was basically how we lost that fight. That is how we lost the belt. 7 months after losing the belt, he came back, fought Leon Edwards again in the rematch, and he lost the fight. He lost it by decision this time. I didn't think it was a good idea for him to come back immediately to fight Leon Edwards, if I'm being honest. I thought it was going to take maybe a year off or even take a fight in between just to break it down, but the UFC wanted it, he wanted it, Leon Edwards wanted it, and we enjoyed the fight. It was a good fight. It wasn't as great as the first one, but the anticipation was nice. We were looking forward to see could he get his belt back, but he couldn't do it. I think some part of this, I'm not going to lie, is if you get knocked out in the head, I'm imagining if you get knocked out in the head that bad, you thought you were winning the fight, and all of a sudden, boom, unconscious. Like, you will be worried, like even in the fight, you will be worried, oh, you'll be gun shy a lot, even you won't be yourself. You will have that at the back of your mind all through the fight. You have that at the back of, what if I get knocked out again? What if this guy knocks me out again? That will make you gun shy for sure. It will make you 100%, especially 7 months after. If you had taken a year off, I think it would have been better. But to cut the long story short, Leon Edwards is your current champ. The guy is a good fighter regardless. The guy won those 2 fights, and that is how she rose. And then he came back again. This was the one that he definitely shouldn't have taken this fight in UFC 294. Paulo Costa was supposed to fight Chimaev, but Paulo Costa had an injury, so he couldn't come to the fight. And then Usman jumped in then at the last minute, fighting an animal like Chimaev. Even if you have a full training camp against Chimaev, the chances of you winning is slim. Never mind jumping in a couple of days before. That was another bad idea. He jumped in, Chimaev won the fight because it was a 3-round fight. If they had made it a 5-round fight, I think Usman would have won that fight, and I think most of you probably agree as well. But that wasn't the case. It was a 3-round fight. It got mauled in the first round. Chimaev kept taking him down at will. He was fighting with his experience. Obviously, Usman is a wrestler himself, but wrestling, you need cardio for wrestling. If you guys have ever wrestled for one day, that is probably the most grueling sport ever. Wrestling is a nightmare. And imagine doing wrestling every time, or trying to do wrestling for 5 minutes straight, taking someone down over and over again, someone trying to take you down, wrestling you over and over again. He lost that fight against Chimaev. But I think if they had a full training camp and they had 5 rounds to fight, I think Usman would win that fight. I think he would win that fight. So my point here is that guy still has it in him. I think he still has it in him. I don't know what you guys think, but I think that guy, if he gives it one more good bash, one more good go, forget about everything. I know he has podcasts, everything going on now and all these things. I don't know, does he have movies and stuff? He has a lot of things going on. Just put that to one side for 2 years. Concentrate on winning this belt. I think he can still do it. Who can he fight to get back to the title picture? I know Leon Edwards is fighting Bilal Muhammad in Manchester. Obviously, that fight is going down. Imagine Bilal Muhammad wins Leon Edwards. Usman can slide right in. I know if Leon Edwards wins that fight, it's going to be difficult to give him the third fight. How could you really justify that? But I think if he can get one big win, for example, now take a look at the division. You have Bilal is fighting, as I mentioned, Bilal is fighting already. You have Shavkat Rakhmonov. Shavkat Rakhmonov is actually second in that division now. He's ranked number 2. If he can get that fight against Shavkat and wins that fight, he could easily slot back into the title shot. I really think he could. I know Shavkat is undefeated, he's an animal. It's not going to be an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination. I know that for a fact. But what I'm just trying to say is there is still an opportunity for Usman to win that strap again. I would like to see him win that strap again if he can, because I'm a very big fan of Usman. I loved his run. I really enjoyed his run. You know what I mean? He was one of those guys that people didn't like at the beginning. Then people started liking him. As it went along, people started being drawn to him. But I liked him from the very beginning. I wish him the best. Anyway, no matter what happens, if he chooses to probably just go for exciting fight, he can move up to the middleweight and get 1 or 2 fights. There's no borders there, you know. But I think he should stay in the welterweight. Give it a good crack and see how it goes. And as usual, guys, thumbs up is always helpful. Subscribing is always helpful. And I will see you guys at the next video. Stay tuned.